So what happens when the ivory tower goes to hell? And I mean that literally. Today, we are diving deep into the academic underworld of R.F. Kuang's Katabasis. It's this incredible journey into mythology, into philosophy, and into the dark, dark heart of ambition. But really, at its core, this is about two brilliant, fiercely competitive scholars who have to rely on each other to survive the absolute.
This line, right here, it just hangs over the entire story. Because you realize this isn't just about a physical journey down into some underworld. It's about memory, it's about regret, and it's about the awful weight of the things you just can't unknow. It sets the stage perfectly for a descent where the scariest demons aren't in hell. They're the ones you carry around in your own head.
Alright, so let's meet our protagonists, Alice and Peter. Now, they are not your typical adventurers. They're not chosen ones, there's no prophecy. They are academics, pure and simple, at the absolute peak of their game. Their arena isn't some battlefield. It's the library, the lecture hall, the chalkboard. Their intellect is their only weapon.
And their impossible quest? Well, their advisor, Professor Grimes, is gone. And they are the only ones clever enough, or maybe, just maybe foolish enough, to actually go after him. On the surface, yeah, it's a rescue mission, but the guy they're trying to save is, well, he's a complicated, dangerous man, and it forces them to question why they're even doing this at every single turn.
Okay, so how are a couple of grad students going to pull this off? Well, they use this unique system called analytic magic. And this is not your standard spells and incantations. Think of it more as intellectual magic. It's based on this idea that reality itself is built on a kind of linguistic code. So it's all about finding the cracks, the loopholes in the logic of the universe, and using those linguistic tricks to basically confuse reality for a split second.
So forget wands and staffs. The main tool for these magicians is a simple stick of chalk. But of course, this is no ordinary chalk. It's made from the compressed remains of ancient sea creatures, and it acts as a physical link to the deep, remote past. It's a conduit that lets a scholar literally rewrite the rules of right now by drawing on the authority of ancient history.
The whole process takes a ton of mental discipline, and it really boils down to 3 steps. First, you find a premise, something the world already accepts as true. Then, you tell a lie, a paradox so clever that reality itself just kind of short-circuits. And then, and this is the hardest part, you have to believe your own lie with such absolute, unwavering force that the world just blinks. And in that one moment, the impossible can happen.
So, with the theory established, our scholars draw their pentagrams, and they take the plunge. One moment they're on the familiar, rain-slicked streets of Cambridge, and the next, they step out of our reality and into the great unknown.
And this is the hell they find. It is not a fiery pit of lava and brimstone. No, it's this bizarrely structured place, organized into 8 courts of sin, and the whole thing is surrounded by the mythical River Lethe. The entire structure is, well, it's less of an abyss and more like a university campus.
So why does hell look like a university? Because as it turns out, hell adapts. It's a mirror. It reflects the anxieties and the structures of the people who end up there. A soul has to have something familiar to latch onto, otherwise the sheer terror of it all would just break them. And for a couple of scholars, what's more familiar than lecture halls, libraries, and petty department politics?
Their very first stop is the Court of Pride. And it is, of course, a massive, endless university library. The souls trapped here aren't, famous historical sinners. They're just academics, damned by their own intellectual vanity, and they're doomed to an eternity of arguing over footnotes.
And this is where the story's dark, satirical humor really shines. The sins that get you damned here aren't murder or treason. They're these painfully recognizable academic slip-ups. I mean, it's a brilliant critique of how the intellectual world can take its own pettiness so seriously. This is literally a hell where you can be punished for turning over your exam papers too loudly.
The journey from here is a clear, structured descent. After pride, they have to face desire, then greed, and so on, right down the list. Each court is a more profound, more dangerous moral challenge than the one before it, pushing Alice and Peter deeper and deeper into the nature of human failure, all leading to this mysterious 8th court at the very bottom.
So, who are these people? Really? Why are they doing this? Well, Alice is driven by this deep need for validation. She feels like she has to achieve the impossible just to prove she's worthy. Peter, on the other hand, he's a purist. He's driven by this intellectual arrogance, this need to conquer the hardest challenge just because it's there. And you can see how those two completely different drives are going to create some serious tension. And the man they're risking everything for? Professor Grimes? Well, let's just say he wasn't exactly a beloved mentor. A former student described him as a monster, a sociopath. He left a trail of broken students behind him. So their quest isn't some noble act of loyalty. It's a really murky, morally ambiguous choice.
Now, surrounding this entire journey is the river Lethe. Its Greek name, Lethe, means forgetfulness. But here's the really cool part. It's linguistically related to the Greek word for truth, aletheia. So you have this bizarre built-in paradox, the connection between forgetting something and finding the truth. And that idea is the philosophical heart of this whole story.
This connection just forces you to ask a central question. What is the real relationship between memory and truth? Can you only see what's true once you've wiped the slate clean of your personal history? Or is memory the only thing that makes truth meaningful in the first place? That's the riddle they have to solve if they want to survive. For Alice, this is not some abstract philosophical debate. Professor Grimes, before he left, etched a magical pentagram into her arm. It's a tattoo that gives her perfect, agonizing recall. She is physically incapable of forgetting anything. So imagine that. You're in a place defined by the promise of forgetting, of oblivion, and you are the one person who is permanently burdened by every single memory.
So as they move from court to court, getting through isn't about strength or fighting. To get past each gatekeeper, they have to solve these incredibly complex, logical, and philosophical paradoxes. It's a journey that tests not just their intellect, but the very foundation of their trust in each other. Because to find the solution, they have to be perfectly, absolutely in sync. You know, ultimately, you realize this is just as much an internal journey as it is an external one. The demons they face are often just projections of their own fears, their own unresolved traumas. To survive this hell, they have to first confront the personal hells they've built up inside themselves and between each other.
And after everything they go through, they finally find him. They find Professor Grimes. And then comes the ultimate academic twist. He doesn't want to be rescued. For him, hell, with no bodily needs, no students to teach, no distractions, is basically the ultimate research fellowship. He's found paradise in damnation.
So they leave him there. They manage to escape and return to the world of the living, but they are not the same people. This question really captures that feeling of just overwhelming vertigo. After you've walked through the absolute, after you've seen the courts of sin, how do you even begin to readjust to the mundane world? How can anyone possibly feel like they've earned being alive?
Their entire perception of reality has changed. The world feels illuminated. Simple, everyday things they never would have noticed before now feel completely miraculous. You know, things like the stars in the sky, or even just the taste of a cold cheese toastie. It's like their journey through hell ironically taught them the sacred value of just being alive.
And in the end, what remains is the bond they forged in the darkness. This thought captures the intense, watchful intimacy that grew between them. They descended into hell as rivals, as competitors, and they returned as something more. They completely blurred the lines between intellect, trauma, and love, right in the face of the infinite.